Good morning, students. So today we are going to discuss about the techniques of managerial control. So what are the techniques of managerial control? So there are various techniques of managerial control. So this techniques or the techniques of managerial control may be classified into two categories. So one is a traditional technique and the second one is modern technique. One is traditional technique and the second one is modern technique. So what is traditional technique? So traditional techniques, they are those kind or those techniques which have been used by the companies for a long time now. So it is totally a very old technique which is used by the organization. So that is why it is said that traditional techniques are those which have been used by the companies for a long time now. So however, these techniques have not become obsolete and are still being used by companies. So it's like it is very old techniques which is used or which is been used by the organization. So it is not obsolete even now. It is not obsolete or it is not outdated even now. So why it is said that it is not outdated now is that it is still being used by the companies even now. So even now the companies are using this traditional techniques which brings effective managerial control in the organization. So which are the types or what are the things which come under this traditional technique? So the one is personal observation, second one is statistical reports, third one is break even analysis, and fourth one is budgetary control. One is personal observation, second one is statistical report, third one is break even analysis, and fourth one is budgetary control. So these are the one which come under the traditional techniques. So traditional techniques are those which have been used by the companies for a long time now. It has been used in the companies or used by the companies for a long time. So the second one is modern technique. So I told you it is divided into two. That is techniques of managerial control is divided into two. One is traditional technique and the other one is modern technique. So we already discussed about a traditional technique. So now we'll discuss about modern techniques. So modern techniques of controlling are those which are of recent origin and are comparatively new in management literature. So these techniques provide a refreshingly new thinking on the ways in which various aspects of an organization can be controlled. So it is totally new. So modern techniques of controlling are those which are of recent origin and are comparatively new in management literature. They are comparatively new in management literature. So these techniques provide a refreshingly new thinking on the ways in which various aspects of an organization can be controlled. This modern techniques are they are totally new into the what management literature. So they are of totally recent origin. They are totally recent. That's not like traditional, which is very old. So they are totally recent in the market. So these techniques they provide refreshingly. Yet they're providing refreshingly new thinkings on the ways in which various aspects of an organization can be controlled. So the modern techniques they include return on investment, ratio analysis, responsibility accounting, management audit, PERT and CPM, and management information system. So I repeat, management, that is your modern techniques, they include return on investment. First one is return on investment, second one is ratio analysis, third one is responsibility accounting, fourth one is management audit, fifth one is PERT and CPM, and the sixth one is management information system. So these are the things which come under the modern techniques of managerial control. So first we'll go to traditional techniques, or the things which come under traditional techniques. So I told you that they are personal observation, statistical reports, break-even analysis, and budgetary control. The first one is personal observation. Personal observation. See, before all this came into existence, that is the new techniques or new techniques of control came into existence, even before all this came into existence, we had organization, we had companies, so they used to run in effective manner, they used to make a good amount of profit, they used to run the business in a smoother manner. Okay, so controlling used to take place even without any modern techniques also. Okay, so what happens here in personal observation is like, so this personal observation, it becomes a most traditional method of controlling. It becomes a most traditional method of controlling. So what happens here is like, the personal observation enables a manager to collect the first hand information. So manager is observing the employee personally. So only you get to know a clear idea there, like personal observation. So observing each and every employee personally. So when a employee or when a manager observes each and every employee personally, then what happens is like, that manager gets a first hand information. So it is not information which is prepared by some other person. It is not an information which is prepared by some other person. It is a first hand information. So it also creates a psychological pressure on the employee. So when the employee gets to know that the manager is observing the work of the employee, when the employee gets to know that, or when he comes to know that the manager is observing the work of the employee, then it creates a psychological pressure on the employee to perform well. So as they are aware that they are being observed personally on their job. So when manager he observes each and every employee, what happens is like, employee totally increases his performance. So employee's performance totally increases. Yes, so it is a very time consuming exercise. It is a very time consuming exercise. The reason why it is said that it is a time consuming exercise is because the person who is a manager will have to observe each and every employee in the organization in order to get a clear picture of the organization. Yes, we'll have to concentrate, or you will have to look on each and every employee of the organization. You will have to look on each and every employee of the organization. Okay, so when he concentrates, or when he spends time on each and every employee, suppose if you have 300 employees in an organization, if you have 300 employees in an organization, so the manager will have to observe each and every employee. So what happens is like, a huge amount of time gets consumed here. The huge amount of time gets consumed here. That is why it is said that it is a time consuming process. So, and cannot effectively be used in all kinds of jobs. So all kind of jobs, it cannot be used in all the kinds of jobs. So it can be used only in certain kind of jobs. So this cannot be used in all the kinds of jobs. First disadvantage of personal observation is that it consumes a huge amount of time. It is a time consuming process. It is a time consuming process. And the second one is like, it cannot be effectively used in all kind of jobs. Cannot be used in all the kinds of jobs. Okay, so in simple, personal observation is nothing but observing each and every employee of the organization personally by the manager of the organization. Observing each and every employee personally by the manager of the organization. So what happens is like I told you, the employee, he will be, or it creates a psychological pressure because of a reason that the manager observes each and every employee. So personal observation, like I told you, it creates a psychological pressure on the employees to perform well, as they are aware that they are being observed personally on their job. So the second one is statistical report. Statistical report. So statistical analysis is a form of averages, percentages, ratio, correlation, etc. So present useful information to managers regarding the performance of the organization in various areas. Statistical analysis in the form of averages, percentages, ratio and correlation, etc. So present useful information to the managers regarding the performance of the organization in various areas. So statistical report is nothing but the analysis. Yes, so what you do is like the present performance of the employees in the organization, or present performance of the organization is shown with the help of percentages or ratio or correlation. So the useful information which is required by the manager can be provided easily. So performance regarding the organization can be provided to the manager with the help of percentage. So what is the production percentage of the organization, or what is the sales percentage of the organization, whether it is going high or low? So that becomes very important. So the organization performance can be known with the help of averages or percentage or ratio or correlation or anything. So such information, when presented in form of chart or graphs or table, enables the manager to read them more easily. So the manager becomes, or it becomes easy to the manager to understand the performance of the organization. So when these things are put in the form of charts or graphs or tables, yes, so either whether it may be a chart or graph or table, it enables a manager to read them more easily and allow a comparison to be made with performance in previous periods and also with the benchmark. So this graph may be or chart may be, so it helps the manager to easily identify the performance. Yes, so one more thing is like it becomes easy for the manager to read the chart or graph or table. Okay, so and one more thing is like the comparison to be made, or the comparison can be made with regarding to the performance of the previous and the present. Yes, so it becomes easy for them to compare the performance of the present and as well as the previous performance. So the next one is break-even analysis. So when coming to this break-even analysis, so break-even analysis is a technique used by managers to study the relationship between cost, volume and profit. To study the relationship between the cost, volume and profit. So it determines a probable profit and losses at different levels of activity. So the sales volume at which there is no profit, no loss, is known as break even point. So they have given a diagram in your textbook of break even chart. Okay, so they have provided all the information like the variable cost, maybe fixed cost, the volume, the revenue, everything. Yes, so break-even analysis, it is nothing but a technique used by the manager to study the relation between the cost, volume and profit. Relation between the cost, volume and profit. So It determines the probable profit and losses at different levels of activity. Probable profit determines the probable profits and losses at different levels of activity. The sales volume at which there is no profit, no loss is known as break-even point. The sales volume at which there is no profit, no loss is known as break-even point. So it is a useful technique for the managers as it helps in estimating profits at different levels of activity. So it is totally a useful technique for managers as it helps in estimating the profits at different levels of activity. So in the figure which is given in the textbook, so it shows the break-even chart of a firm. So break-even point is determined by the intersection of total revenue and total cost curve. It is represented, or it is determined by intersection of total revenue and total cost curve. So the figure shows that the firm will the figure shows that the firm will have a break even point. The firm shows that the firm will break even at 50,000 units of output. 50,000 units of output. So they have provided like 25, 50, 75. So it breaks, or the break even is at 50,000 units of output. So at this time there is no profit, no loss. At this time there is no profit, no loss. So it is beyond this point that the firm will start earning profit. It is beyond this point that the firm will start earning profit. So after this level, the organization will earn profit. So before this it is totally loss. So break even can be calculated with the help of the formula. So there is a formula for calculation of break even point. So what is the formula? So what is the formula which is used to calculate the break even point? The formula is break even point is equal to fixed cost divided by selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. So break even point is equal to fixed cost divided by selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. So break-even analysis totally helps a firm in keeping a close check over its variable cost and determines the level of activity at which the firm can earn its target profit. Break-even analysis helps a firm in keeping a close check over its variable cost, and it determines the level of activity at which a firm can earn its target. So the next one is budgetary control. So when coming to budgetary control, so you have different budgets like sales budget, then production budget, material budget, capital budget, cash budget, research and development budget. So all these are the different budgets which are provided by the organization for its betterment. Okay, so budgetary control is a technique of managerial control. Budgetary control is a technique of managerial control in which all operations are planned in advance. Budgetary control is a technique of managerial control in which all operations are planned in advance in the form of budgets. All operations are planned in advance in the form of budgets, and actual results are compared with budgetary standards. Yes, all, it's like all operations are planned in advance in the form of budget. All are planned in advance in the form of budgets, and actual results are compared with budgetary standards. Actual results are compared with budgetary standard. So this comparison, it totally reveals the necessary action to be taken so that organizational objective are accomplished. So a budgetary control is a technique of managerial control in which all operations are planned in advance. All are planned in advance in the form of budgets, and actual results are compared with the budgetary standard. So like I told you, actual is compared with the standard, that is budgetary standard. So this comparison, it reveals the necessary action to be taken so that organizational objectives are accomplished. Organizational objectives are accomplished. So budgetary or budget is a quantitative statement for a defined future period of time for a purpose of obtain a given object. So already we had discussed this in planning chapter while we discussed about the types of plan. So here it's like there also we studied about budget. Here also we are learning about budget. So budget is a quantitative statement. It is a quantitative statement for a definite future period of time, for a definite future period of time for a purpose of obtaining a given objective, for a purpose of obtaining a given object. So it is a statement which reflects the policy of that particular period. Yes, it's the statement, or budget is the statement which reflects the policy of that particular period. So it will contain figures of forecast both in terms of time and quantities. Yeah, so there are different, like I told you, there are different types of budget. So one is sales budget, the production budget, material budget, cash budget, capital budget, research and development budget. So each one is related to one another, like each one has its own way of interpreting things. So for example, sales budget is nothing but the statement which expects to sell, or what an organization expects to sell in terms of quantity as well as value. So all these things. Okay, so budget, like I told you, is a quantitative statement for a definite future period of time, for a definite future period of time for the purpose of obtaining a given objective, for a purpose of obtaining a given objective. The budgeting, it offers certain advantages. The budgeting, it offers certain advantages. So before that I told you, it contains, or it will contain figures of forecast both in terms of time as well as quantities. So what are the advantages of budgeting? What is the or what are the advantages of budgeting? The first one is budgeting focuses on specific and time bound targets, and this helps in attainment of objective, that is organizational objective. So it is said that budgeting, it totally focuses on specific target, or it focuses on time bound targets. It focuses on time bound targets. So this helps in attainment of organizational objective. It helps in attainment of organizational objective. It totally helps in attainment of organizational objective. So it focuses on time bound targets. The second one is budgeting is a source of motivation to employees who know the standard against which their performance will be appraised, and this enables them to perform better. So I told you that the employees, before I told you, like the employee should know on what basis they are being appraised. So what is the basis on which they are appraised, or what are the standards against which their performance is appraised. And one more thing is like what the employee should know, what the organization is expecting, what the organization is expecting from them. So when an organization, or in an organization, when an employee knows about the way how he is appraised. Yes, so when employee gets to know, yes, the standard against which the performance is appraised, then it enables him to perform much better. So when he knows on what basis he is being appraised or his performance is appraised, then it helps to perform better, or it helps him to perform better in the organization. So he may put more of his effort towards the organizational objective. The third one is budgeting helps in optimum utilization of resources by allocating them according to the requirement of different departments. Budgeting helps in optimum utilization of resources by allocating them according to the requirement of different departments. So it makes optimum utilization of resources. So the resources available in the organization, will be utilized to the fullest extent. So it sees that the optimum utilization of resources is taking place. So how it sees that the optimum utilization of resources is taking place is by allocating the resources according to the requirement of different departments. So as and when the requirement arises in the business organization, what they do is like they provide resources. So what happens, the resources, it gets used, or it gets utilized to the optimum level. The fourth one is budgeting is also used for achieving coordination among different departments of an organization and highlights the interdependence between them. So budgeting is used for achieving the coordination among different departments. So coordination becomes very important in the organizations. There has to be a good amount of coordination. So coordination becomes very important. So budgeting, it is used for achieving the coordination among the different departments of an organization. So it highlights the interdependence between them. So for example, sales budget cannot be prepared without knowing the production programs and schedules. So once the production department says about their programs or their schedules, then what the sales department can be done is like, or sales department can do is like, they can raise the budget, or sales budget can be prepared according to the ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್. ಸೊ ಏನು ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸೇಲ್ಸಿಗೆ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಬಜೆಟನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸನ್ನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಯು ಕಾಂಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್, ಆರ್ ಯು ಕಾಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಎನಿ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್. So the fifth one is it facilitates management by exception by stressing on those operations which deviate from budgeted standards in the significant way. In the previous class I told you that when coming to management exception, so those kind of deviation which has to be concentrated, or only significant deviation which go beyond the permissible limit has to be taken into notice or has to be brought into notice. So only those significant deviations which go beyond the permissible limit. So it facilitates management by exception by stressing on those operations which deviates from budgeted standards in a significant way or in a significant manner. So here it is said that the effectiveness of budgeting totally depends on how accurately estimates have been made about the future. So the if the what estimation regarding the future is made in a proper manner, then the effective of budgeting also or that is effectiveness of budgeting will also be in a proper manner. So flexible budget should be prepared, which can be adopted if forecast about future turn out to be different, especially in the face of changing environmental forces. So manager, what he has to do is like he must remember that budgeting should not be viewed as an end but a means to achieve the organizational objective. So like I told you, flexible budget should be prepared. So flexible budget, when flexible budget is prepared, then what happens is like adoption becomes very easy. Yes, so which can be adopted if forecasts about future turn out to be different. So if it is flexible, then according to the changes that happens in the environment, what you can do is like you can change the decision. So especially in the face of changing environmental forces, managers must remember that budgeting should not be viewed as an end but a means to achieve organizational objective. What a means to achieve organizational objective. So manager must remember that budgeting should not be viewed as an end. It should not be viewed as an end but a means to achieve organizational objective.